so cold, sleep is nice. So tired, my eyes fight. They just wanna close back up tight. Get up, hoodie on. Hard work at the crack of dawn. This life ain't for the weak ones. No, this life pure only for the strong. Feeling slow, shake it off. Don't got time for negative thoughts. Red sight, got the dot. Shoot my shot, I want the top. Never lost, got my plot. Know my story, I know my boss. I will fight against the clock. Time's a limited gift from God. One day I will have my victory. Crush all my enemies so viciously. Work so hard my hands are blistering, and they will carve my name in history.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Inside the Mind, episode 12, and I'm here with my guy, Football Talk with Bo. How you doing? It's been a while.
It has. How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, me and you, we did the Sunday morning show together. That will be back coming to NFL season and a lot of stuff. But guys, if you have not known yet, the Hardcore Sports Network is officially on Spotify. So right now, this is the first podcast on Spotify. You can follow us at Hardcore Sports Network's podcast. The link, it's in the chat. It's in the chat. Everyone go follow the Hardcore Sports Network on Spotify. A lot of news to come here. And we already got a lot of people in the chat here. What is up, Door? What is up? What is up, man? What is up?
Yeah. Awesome.
What is up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. Now, let's get right started with this. How'd you become a content creator? What was your process leaning into this?
Yeah, so it actually started because I moved to Mexico. So I played football until I was 30, right? So I familiar with the sport, to say the least. Played pro arena ball, and then had normal career paths. But I got tired of working 16 hours a day because I was self-employed. Did that for about a decade. And COVID hits, and about a year into that, I was like, I'm ready for some downtime. And so we moved down there into the Puerto Vallarta area for about 2 years. We were 2 blocks from the beach, right? It was awesome. And I basically took 2 years off of working at all. And during that time, I decided, I really want to get back around the sport. Love football. The rest of the sports are cool. I watch them, whatever. But football is definitely my love. And so I started my podcast from right down there in Puerto Vallarta, and it was pretty cool in the way that my show started to grow to the point that people that were watching the show would actually drive from different parts of Mexico to come watch a game with me. And so that was awesome. I had a Raider fan that drove about 3.5 hours on like 3 different weekends to come watch football with me. So it was very cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was very fun. And then, my wife got homesick, so we decided to move back to Seattle. And, it started to grow to the point where it makes sense to be closer to the sport as well. So I got the opportunity to be a guest coach at Tyler Lockett's pro camp last weekend.
God.
Yeah, so it was awesome. It was very awesome. Josh, it's where I'm originally from. That's why I moved back to Seattle. But now we're back around our friends and family and whatever. And, but it opens up some opportunities to do things like that. Or I'm going to leave from this show and go to a donation drive for a local middle school to help their football program. Right. So I'm actually going to go and broadcast a little bit from the donation drive. And it's opened up a lot of opportunities. Man, it's been a fun path.
Yeah. I can't believe you got to meet like Tyler Lockett and all this stuff. That must have been really cool. One of my favorite Seahawks players, actually. Not a lot of people talk about him. So.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. And of course, being here in Seattle, you get to pop into like the Legion Sports Bar in Bellevue that is owned by Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman. And so the last time I was there, got to run into Cam because he's actually at the restaurant a lot. So if you haven't been there, check it out. Legion is a pretty neat spot.
That is cool. That is cool. And now, your favorite part about being a content creator? I'm guessing meeting the people, I guess, after what you just told me.
Honestly, my favorite part is probably my sports bar series that I do during the season. That is probably my favorite part because basically what we do is on Thursday Night Football, which let's be honest, has been kind of horrible games, right? So you gotta try and make those games fun. And so what I did last year and what I'm going to do again this year is you pick a different sports bar each week, right? And you go in early, you interview the owner or the GM or whoever, is available for it, obviously. And then, go back and you watch the game from that location. So you get to help local businesses. And then it gives me an opportunity to meet everybody that watches my show. So I get to hang out with people. It's less of this. You're not on quite the same way, right? Because you're on screen, so you have to be a little bit more professional than say you're sitting at a bar with people that watch your show and you're watching football, right? Like you get to just kind of relax, have a good time, talk to people that watch your show. So that's probably my favorite part is actually hanging out with the people that watch.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Like, we actually have a couple questions here. Will we be able to listen to you from the donation place?
So realistically, it'll probably be, I don't know if it'll be live. And that's mostly going to come down to whether or not I can get good enough signal for it to be live. I'm assuming that it probably won't. I'll probably have to pre-record it and then it'll be, I'll probably upload it later in the day. Unfortunately, probably just not going to have the ability to broadcast just because video, if you're on cell towers is really tough to get good signal.
Yep, I understand that completely. And here's another one. Did you ever visit, what is that?
Puyallup. Don't even try, man. We have a lot of Native American cities here. So that's pronounced Puyallup. Of course. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we did a bar down there during the last year's sports bar series. The way that we set up our sports bar series is we actually do a different location each week, and we span from Olympia to Bellingham. And if you're not from here, that doesn't mean a lot to you, but that is about a 70-mile stretch. And then we will do both sides. So I will end up doing one probably over in Silverdale or Bremerton, which is across the Puget Sound from Seattle. So that's kind of how we do that. Because then we're not doing a bunch in the same city. That way, if you're watching the show, you happen to live in one of the towns, not only can you come out that time, but that that's a location you can watch Thursday Night Football. Because if you are looking at sports bars, let's be honest, unless the Seahawks are playing locally, a lot of the sports bars are going to have, trivia or karaoke or something like that. So the game may be on, but you won't be able to hear it. So I only select bars that if you were to go there on any given week, you could watch Thursday Night Football. So whether you're a Seahawk fan or a fan of any of the rest of the teams, you'd be able to see your team there on a Thursday, whether we're there or not.
Wow, that is crazy. And now your least favorite part about being a content creator?
Probably how slow growth is. It's a grind. It's a job like anything else, right? So like for me, I'm on screen about 20 hours a week. And, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I could talk about sports for 20 hours or whatever. And you probably can. But the problem is you have graphics you have to make. You have all the production side of it. You have, writing, but you can't write too far ahead, right? Like you got to write bullet points of what you want to hit the next day. But the problem is you can make, like I have entire shows that I never got to air because I pre-recorded it the day before and then the person I was talking about either got traded or cut or whatever, and all of that content is now useless. So you spent all the time creating it, writing for it, producing it for the next morning. Like had I sent it out that night, still would have worked, right? If the release date is before the news comes out, you're fine. If you wait till the next morning and he got traded, I forget who it was. They got fired at midnight, right? So I recorded that I thought they were going to get fired, but he actually got fired at midnight, and which is weird. It's the Raiders, right? They fired their coach at midnight, and so it was one of those. It's just like, oh well, I mean, everything I said now doesn't matter. So that's probably my least favorite part, is creating a bunch of content that you can't actually use.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. That happens to me all the time.
Absolutely.
Like all the time. I remember years ago, I was making a video. I think it was like about Jalen Hurts, right? And in the next game, he got injured. So I'm like, oh, great. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Oh, especially if you're doing like season-long projections or something.
Yeah.
That's immediately gone. You're just like, oh, well, cool.
And then here's another thing too. Let's say one of your takes, right, does not become right. People slam you for that. People actually will slam you how wrong your take is. That's another thing.
That is actually better for your show than you think.
That is true.
Now you can't put out nonsense, right? Like you'll get barbecued for that. But if you put out a bad take, everybody has them. But the biggest thing is your haters are your most loyal watchers, right? Like your friends and family, whatever, they'll tune in when they can, right? But your haters will tune in every show because they are looking for every little thing that they can, try and barbecue you on. And, ultimately this game is watch hours, right? So if you're going to watch every episode, hey, bring the hate. Don't care. You're helping me out.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
And now, Josh, just to answer your question real quick, yes, Black Raven is awesome. Both locations. The original location is pretty cool. Their new location, it's not that new. It's a few years old now, but it's huge and beautiful. So yes, I've been there many times.
There you go. And actually, not a lot of people know this. How did you become a member of Hardcore Sports? It's actually kind of interesting. Not a lot of people know this.
I don't really remember. Like I remember because we got involved when I started doing work with Let's Talk Sports.
Yep. And that's it.
Yeah. So that's how, Dan was amazing. So if you didn't know Dan, Dan was an amazing human, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He passed away earlier this year. But awesome human. And he started Let's Talk Sports as a way for him to continue to have contact with the outside world, because he had an illness that kept him bedridden. So the fact that he was able to cultivate this group really from bed was absolutely amazing. Again, sadly, he passed away earlier this year, but shout out to Dan. He was amazing.
Yeah, it was actually Dan who introduced me to you, because I was looking for a Seahawks guy, and just like for someone in football, and I was actually the vice president of like watch alongs there for a little bit, and then I got booted for a little thing. I'm not getting into that, but Dan's a great guy. I miss him. Like I miss him so much. And then your favorite part about being involved in Hardcore Sports? What is your favorite part?
It's just fun getting to interact with all the different personalities on all the different networks. It's great because you get perspectives that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily think of. Because although I cover all teams, I'm a Seahawk fan at heart, right? So, for a 3-hour window on Sundays, I get to be a fan and watch the game. And then the rest of the time I have to put my analytics hat back on and, last year really barbecue my team for defense. Most games, but for 3 hours, and so I get to enjoy that within these groups because everybody likes their team. And so it's fun seeing the league from everybody's perspective.
Yeah. And for me, honestly, it's the support that we all give each other. Like for you, I always see you follow everyone in the network. I see you subscribing to everybody in the network. Like that goes a long way. Not a lot of people give that credit. So
Yeah,
you do that.
I mean, it's funny. Like if you're a content creator or if you're watching, right, and you want to be a content creator, you know, as much as people bag on Twitter, X, or whatever we're calling it today, it's going to be Twitter for me forever. But you know, as negative as people like to say Twitter is, there actually is a really great podcasting community. Now, obviously, there's people out there that, you know, aren't amazing, but for the most part, it is a very accepting group. So if you're getting into sports podcasting, Twitter is actually a pretty good launch pad. And, you know, people like to help each other. I mean, the fact that I get to be on shows like this is all in part because I was on Twitter, because that's how Dan found me, right? So, and he found me kind of early on when I was starting. So, you know, just over a year and a half ago, I had like 14 followers on Twitter. And, you know, it's like, I don't know, somewhere around 11,000, something like that.
How do you do that? It's like a lot of people, including myself, are still stuck at like that 1,000 mark.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of it is just trying to help other people, I guess, is really how it's come together. Because it is such a process to grow any of these platforms. You know, where you are outpacing me by a crazy amount is on YouTube, right? Because you're up over 2,000 subscribers, something like that. I think I'm like at 305 or something, like it, you know. Yeah. So I mean, it's So I mean, it just depends on the platform, kind of where you are. But yeah, Twitter is probably the best platform that I have. Yeah,
I agree, because there's a lot of people in our network who are thriving in Twitter. Like Twitter is something that you can't take for granted, and yes, it is bad with like Elon Musk and that whole thing. I'm not getting into that, but it's still a good platform as well. So let us know something that we may not know about you. Is there something that we may not know about Football Talk with Bo?
Who asked that? Or is that yours?
That's mine.
That's yours? Okay. So I guess, let's see, something that I may not know, especially for newer viewers. I taught ballroom dance.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah. So I taught ballroom dance. It's actually how I met my wife, was dancing. So we met salsa dancing, reviewing a different dance studio. So, but yeah, I used to teach ballroom for Arthur Murray.
Oh, wow. There's something. And your favorite childhood memory that is not football related?
Favorite childhood memory?
Yeah.
You know, since my mom's watching, Feather Freebird there. That's my mom checking in there. So, you know, so we'll go for a really old memory, just because it'll make her laugh. I remember having a Crayola crayon car when I was like 4.
Okay.
Hilarious. And so that'll probably make her laugh. I don't know if it's like a favorite memory or anything, but it's one of the really old memories that still sticks with me.
Okay. All right. That's something. That is something. So, and then your favorite football memory?
Well, I mean, the absolute dismantling of the Broncos for the Super Bowl was pretty amazing.
Right.
And the subsequent parade, because the parade downtown was fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah. And people still ask you about the Marshawn Lynch thing in the 1 yard line?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that'll never go away. The thing that's funny about that is actually a smart play The execution was horrendous, right?
Yeah.
But it's a smart play because time was winding down. It's 2nd and goal. You have 1 timeout, right? So if you pass it on that play, you're figuring worst case scenario, it's an incomplete pass, right?
Right.
You're not planning for an interception. So say it's an incomplete pass, clock stops. Now you can run it 2 more times because you can run it on 3rd, timeout, run it on 4th. So you'd be able to use all of your downs to get into the end zone, right?
Right.
And you could have switched it up. You could have ran it. You could have ran it on that one. Maybe you don't get there, call a timeout. Your next play is a pass play, right? Because you don't have any way to stop the clock anymore. So, so it's not that it was a horrible call, but it was absolutely horrible execution.
You're right. I mean, I still think about that almost all the time. But
to be fair, it is one of the best Super Bowls I watched. Despite the fact that we lost, that was a fun game.
yes, that was very competitive. I just saw the highlights on my YouTube. It was just there on my home feed. So I'm like, all right.
It's one of the most rebroadcast Super Bowls.
Yeah, crazy. Now, your top 5 favorite Seahawks players of all time. I had to put this in here.
Sure. So I'm going to go with Steve Largent.
Okay.
Steve Largent for one. Kenny Easley is safety.
Yeah.
I always liked Ken Hamlin. He wasn't there very long, but he actually, I think most of his career was actually with Dallas, but he was a guy that came to hit, right? Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, you'll probably notice a theme that I'm going for heavy hitting defensive guys.
Yeah.
Defensive guy. Marshawn Lynch is obviously in there.
Yeah.
Let's see, and we need one more.
Did you put Russell Wilson in there or no?
No, and I'm not going to, but is probably another receiver actually would be Joey Galloway.
Ooh, I would not expect that one.
Yeah. So the thing that's funny is I don't really get hyped up about quarterbacks. It's just not my thing. So now don't get me wrong. Russell Wilson was definitely the best quarterback we've had.
Yeah.
As an organization. People do forget that Hasselbeck got us to a Super Bowl as well. But on the, a lot of that was due to Sean Alexander, but and the best left side of an offensive line, arguably in football history. So you could drive a tank through the holes those guys would open up. But yeah, no. So for me to have a quarterback in, it just really isn't my thing. Like if I were to have top quarterbacks all time, a Seahawk wouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make an argument that Warren Moon potentially could, but that's not where the bulk of his career was. Certainly not the bulk of his success, right? Now, although again he was a Seahawk for a short period of time, but if you're just kind of going off of like loose, they were loosely involved with the Seahawks, then you could say, oh yeah, the greatest receiver we ever had was Jerry Rice because we had him for 3 games. So
it's kind of like the Eagles. We had Chris Carter for a little bit.
Yeah, like like you don't really count those. So,
No.
and as much as I think Warren Moon was awesome, again, his career with Seattle wasn't that long.
Nah, crazy. But yes, guys, this is now your time to ask Football Talk with Bo some questions. But as you're coming up with these questions, I gotta ask Bo, who should I have on next on Inside the Mind? Rios, Carlos, or Tymus?
Oh,
your vote counts as mine. So wherever you put, I'll be like, okay, you want Carlos? Boom. You want Rios? Boom. That's
man, you're putting me in a bad spot. All of those guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well jump in with Rios, right?
Okay. Oh wow, Carlos got a vote. So we have 2 votes. And guys, you can go in the Hardcore Sports Network community tab. So for the next person you want to see on Inside the Mind, Rios, Carlos, or Tymus, I'll give it 24 hours. And then who's ever leading the vote, That'll be the next guest on Inside the Mind. So, yeah, let's go back into the chat here. Philly Halftime. He was also a part of the Sunday morning show. So, shout out to you. Shout out to you, Philly Halftime. Glad everything's going well. He just hit 750 subs, so congrats to you on that.
That's amazing. Congrats, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I don't think we play each other, do we? I don't think the Eagles play you.
We don't this year. Yeah. No, we don't this year. Yeah, I mean, unless we see each other in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hopefully. That's my goal. That's my goal right now.
You guys are definitely going. You guys got better this offseason. Yeah. Seattle should have gotten better, at least on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Yeah.
Because we wiped out everybody we had. We have a bunch of guys on a 1-year deal. But there's just so many new pieces to this team. I really have a hard time predicting where it is they'll end up. I think they're going to be a 9-8 team, a bubble wild card kind of thing. But 9-8 may not get you in. So
right.
Tough to say.
It really is. I'm excited. I'm ready for your analysis from the Sunday morning show, which is the best show on the Hardcore Sports Network every Sunday, 10 a.m.
Yeah, no, it's a fun show. It's a fun show.
It really is. What advice would you give a new content creator? This is the last one, by the way.
Yeah, so probably the biggest thing is if you're trying to become a content creator, don't worry about the fact that nobody's watching, for one. Your first shows are going to be terrible. And be glad that no one's seen them. Because my first shows were clunky and not great. And then the other thing is don't overthink what it is you're trying to do. Pick the topic you want to talk about. Be proficient at that. And then, don't wait for everything to be perfect to start. Just start, because no matter if you wait or you don't, you're still going to have nobody watching to start. So you might as well work out the bugs while you're still learning how to do everything. That way you're polished as your viewers start to come on. So plus, it adds an element that, is encouraging for other people that are trying to get into it. Because if you go back and watch some of my first shows, you're like, wow, this guy is really, really bad at this. And, but if you watch over time, you can see me get better at it. Get more comfortable in front of the camera, get more comfortable as far as production. So, I mean, it's good to have those bad shows and leave those bad shows up. If you go back to my first ones, you'll see me struggle and not talk, very, very clearly or smoothly. You start to learn cadence along the way, especially because when you start, you're a little bit nervous. So you start really talking fast, right?
Yeah.
And you're hustling through stuff. And you'll find that as you progress through your career in it, I should say, you start to talk a little bit slower, more concise, because it's easier to listen to, right? So it's just a lot of little things that you learn along the way, and most of them you don't have enough information to ask the right questions anyway. So just start. That's my best piece of advice: is just get going, and the rest of it will kind of follow suit as you learn as you go.
Right. Progression is a huge one, because when I started YouTube like 8 or 9 years ago, like I was doing movie reviews, video game reviews, challenges, and then COVID hit, and then I just wanted to talk about sports because that's my true passion. I love movies, I love video games, but sports is where it's at for me. So.
Yep.
It is crazy, but yet I just want to say thank you, Bo, for popping on here and let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so you can find me on all the socials at Football Talk with Bo, here on YouTube at Football-Talk. And of course, you can see me on Roku TV 5 days a week. And then, of course, just to circle back to it, if you are here in the Seattle area, come to Meadowdale, because words are hard, I guess. Meadowdale Middle School. They have a donation drive. It's for Goodwill, and it is to benefit their football program. A buddy of mine is the coach there. I'll be there for the second half of it. I'll get there about 10:30, and it goes from 9 until noon. Everything that you donate helps to fund their football program. And let's be honest, all of you have stuff you don't need in your house. So swing by. drop some stuff off, say hi. We'll grab a picture, and yeah, it'll be fun. So definitely come out again. Meadowdale Middle School there in Linwood. Be sure to stop by, donate whatever it is you can.
Appreciate that. And I just love your production, your background, and everything. Like the green screen, and now you moved. What? Like, wow.
I guess I should promote that show. So, Coach's Corner is myself and former NFL coach John Bonamego, and so basically it's every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we interview different coaches from around various leagues. So we had the head coach of the DC Defenders a couple weeks ago. We had the head coach and special teams coach of the Citadel week before last. So it's been fun. We I don't remember offhand who it is we have this week. So stay tuned. Be sure to tune in. But yeah, so the Coach's Corner it has been a lot of fun, and Coach Bono is awesome. He was in the league for 20 years, won a Super Bowl with the Rams this last time through.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, just to clarify to everybody, this is our first podcast on Spotify. Follow us, Hardcore Sports Network podcast on Spotify. Thank you, Bo, for jumping on again. Cannot wait for the Sunday morning show. Hawk Talk is also on the Hardcore Sports Network, so make sure to tune in for that. That's a great show. I love it. It's where we ask some questions about Seattle and just gives his deep dive analysis on that. So shout out to you on that. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to both of our channels, the Hardcore Sports Network, Football Talk with Bo. And yeah, guys, we are out until next time. Peace.